The place that we shot the above water plates was a place called Sanya Bay in China. And I found some reference of how deep the water was, what the water levels were like, what the ground was like, what the corals were like. We even shot lens grids underwater so that we could see how the depth of the water would distort. But everything that you see when we're actually under the water with the shark is computer generated. One of the challenges of this underwater environment was when we had shots that needed to be really, really deep. And basically we got Jason Statham when we got a big shark on one side, and it's just before they have a big standoff, they're about to attack each other. And our camera needed to be like 300 feet away from the sub and the shark. If you look at real reference for underwater, within 10-15 feet you start to lose density and depth. We realized if we really wanted to shoot that, you'd never see anything that far off. So we had to cheat a little bit. We were able to employ the idea that they were in silhouette. We made out there was more light on one side than the other to sort of, pick out a rim light on the back of the shark. Huge depths of water are not something that you would traditionally see in real photography, but the film needed that kind of depth, that kind of distance.
We did a lot of research looking around at various films that were shot underwater, underwater footage from documentaries, trying to figure out what makes the underwater environment feel like you're underwater. And besides for the refraction or bending of the light because you're under a volume of water, we saw that there was particulate in the water that made it look like you're there, or bubbles in the water. We've studied and found that there's thermoclines, basically varying temperature in the water, which creates a slightly different shift in the hues or the bending of the light, so you get these blurs. So our effects artists would go through, modify the image to kind of dirty it up, if you will, kind of give it all that grit and underwater feeling.
One of the unique pieces of software that we used on MEG to create our underwater environment is something called Sprout. What is Sprout, you might ask?
Sprout is an in-house tool that allows us to propagate tons and tons of geometry across an environment.
So what you do is you take your key elements for your underwater environment, which in our case was the corals, the rocks, the sand, particulate, and kelp, and you can very quickly cover a whole empty environment interactively, which was my favorite bit. So I could literally sit down with our great artists and say, I want some kelp here, just in front of the camera there. Okay, let's go deep. I want to see a nice silhouette of this type of coral, or make the coral smaller. And you can scale it interactively. It's just very, very fast, very, very exciting, and very efficient way of working and rendering.
Hey guys, here's today's daily fact. Now for the film The Labyrinth, the owl in the title sequence is computer generated. Now this is the first attempt at a photorealistic CGI animal in a full-length feature film. Not bad. Now remember to click here below to subscribe, or on the side for more great content.